Hello and welcome to our show. This is Creatures of the Night.
And I'm Wendy.
That was terrible.
No, I like that voice. I thought that was kind of cute.
That's my cute voice. Well, you'll never get it again. Well, I'm Chris, the non-cute voice.
Stop it.
And it's so funny because it feels like, for me, I don't know about for you, like it's been a while since we've done this. I don't know why. I know we just podcasted 2 weeks ago? It was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. But so we record 2 episodes in one night. Chris's story and then my story. So when we get to my story, it feels like we've been doing this forever.
Right.
But starting your story, it feels like we've never done this before. Every single time. I'm just like, okay, what do we do again?
How do we do this?
We talked before this. We're always like, we better hurry up and get started. But then we end up blabbing about stuff for at least 30 minutes before we get started. But none of that shit is shit that people want to hear. It's like
it's like our daily lives.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't bathe today. My printer broke. It's out of ink.
Right? Yeah, our regular shit. Exactly. Yeah, nobody wants to hear that. You're right. So let me tell you about my day.
But that's what's so weird about getting started. It's like, oh, okay, let's stop talking about I need ink for the printer and where I can find it. Let's start doing this whole podcast thing and be interesting and fun. How do we do that?
I know that's the thing I think that messes us up all the time, because we go from being ourselves to then being the entertainment.
We shouldn't say it like that, like we are boring people, but
we're not. We're totally entertaining, but it's a different vibe, because we go from being ourselves to each other to having to be ourselves to 5,000 strangers.
Right. Yeah. Which is awkward. I really don't necessarily need to be telling you I haven't showered today and how often that happens.
Well, anyways, that's us. That's our personal stuff that's going on. Not very paranormal-ish, but I do have something to show you, Wendy, and I had to keep this off of social media because I wanted to share it with the podcast. You got to see this. I got this. Look at that.
Look at that. It's
Right.
a mermaid.
It's a mermaid skeleton. She's iridescent too. You can't really tell because we're Skyping and the quality's kind of bad because I'm also in the basement, but she's iridescent just like a mermaid should be.
How adorable.
Isn't that
Where
awesome?
did you get that at?
You're not going to believe this.
If you say the Goodwill, I'm going to lose my shit.
No, I did not. A fan sent this to us.
Really? We have fans?
My dad.
That counts.
Yes, he counts. He sent this to me in the mail, and he's so cute. I got a text from him, and he's like, check your mail in all caps. And I was like,
that's scary.
Okie dokie. I'll do that. No. And it took me an hour to get home that night because there was a wreck and the bridge was closed and all of this sort of shit. So I get home. Tyler had gotten the box, and he had set it upstairs. I'm like, I got to open this right away because Dad texted me. And I open it up, and it's this lovely little thing in a Kroger bag. But he was like, I saw this little beauty and knew you had to have it. I was like, oh, Dad, it's the coolest thing that's happened to me all day. So I had to share that with you. So I'll post a picture of that now on Instagram, but I had to share it with you first. And the timing of it was really weird too, because I had just seen this movie, The Lighthouse. Do you remember me posting that one?
Yeah, how was that?
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No, you know.
Wow.
No, I've actually seen the trailers for that one, and I did want to see it. It seems like my type of horror movie, but I haven't had a chance to watch it at all.
It's weird.
That's my type of horror movie. I don't like the jump scares and stuff. Just make it all strange and suspenseful.
It was very strange and suspenseful. And I have to say, I don't know if you knew this or not, but I guess the guy that filmed it found these cameras that were super vintage cameras. So they had to film the movie with these super vintage cameras. I'm not going to say the year because I don't have that information for you, but it comes out in a very beautiful display. Just because they're using these cameras and the types of lenses that they're using, it just made it such a visually impressive movie to see. So that's honestly the whole reason why I watched it. I had seen the previews and was like, I don't get it. What is happening here? It's a bird and there's yelling and dancing and it's a lighthouse. Boom. And I really didn't get it. But my husband was the one who's like, yeah, this is how they filmed it. And you've got to see it because of the cinematography or whatever. So we gave it a shot. And honestly, I'm glad that I watched it because, and you're going to hate me for saying this, but I didn't realize that Robert Pattinson could actually act. But that makes me so hopeful because he's going to be the new Batman.
Right? Yeah.
So it's back on my radar. I'm happy now because after seeing him in that movie, I'm like, okay, I will give the guy a chance. I feel much better about it now. In my mind, he was just always going to be the guy from Twilight.
Yeah.
And that was not my kind of movie. I know it was a lot of other people's movie, but it wasn't my thing. So that's how I always viewed him, as being that guy. I'm glad that he did this very strange movie because now I'm like, okay, all right, fine. I'll look forward to seeing him play the new Batman now.
Yeah, I saw like 2 other films of his and they were pretty good. So when people said that he was going to play Batman, I was like,
you're already on board.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
He can act. I can see it, I guess. He's really small to me, but Michael Keaton's not very big either. So
No, right. And that's the magic of the cinema, right? They can make short, like Robert Downey Jr. guys look tall.
Do they make him look tall, though? Not until he's in that suit.
Right. He's on platforms. And I think when he's next to Gwyneth Paltrow, she's usually without shoes because I think she's a taller lady anyways.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. So the movie was weird. That's really all I got for you. Again, it was pretty. So watch it at least because if you're someone who doesn't get their fair share of coastline, lighthouses, or seagulls, then you would be really impressed by this movie, right?
Yeah. Seagulls.
Yeah, right. Plus lots of farts. That's what that movie's about. Yeah. It's weird.
Oh, maybe that's not my kind of weird.
It's weird.
But 2 dudes stuck on an island together, that makes sense, though.
Right. They're doodly. It's just so bizarre. So like I said, it was weird timing that my dad had sent me this mermaid skeleton too. I don't think he follows me on Instagram. I've tried to tell him before that that's where I'm putting everything on Instagram. I know that he's liked some of the stuff on Facebook, but my dad's just not, into the social media scene. So I don't know if he saw that I posted it or not, but it was cute. So thumbs up. Thanks, Dad. Thanks our fans for sending us swag.
Did he say where he got it from?
No, and I just assumed Kroger because it was in a Kroger bag.
That's Dad's rapping.
It's Dad's rapping for sure. But the note was super cute. I kept the note too because like I said, he had put, I saw this little beauty and thought of you. I was like, aw.
That was really sweet.
Yeah. So that's that. And so now let me switch gears here and talk about Valentine's Day. I guess I can do that since I just got a gift from my dad, right? That's sort of the thing that you're supposed to do. But I saw something else on social media that blew my mind. And again, you might have already seen this. I just came across it, but they're just like the little traditional cardboard punched out square Valentine's Day cards. Just like, what you would give your classmates back in the day. But these were all horror movie themed Valentine's Day cards. And they were the cutest, like they were like childlike Jigsaw, or childlike Freddy Krueger, like I heart you and things like that. I'm like, these are the ones that I need in my life.
That's amazing. Like you can actually buy these? It wasn't like a joke or something?
No. And the problem is that, so I saw them on Instagram and I went back to find the exact one that I saw and I couldn't find it. So it must have been an ad. You know how the ads come up and you never see them again. But I did a Google search for them and apparently they're all over Etsy. So you can find them on Etsy. And one of my favorite was, and this one isn't even a horror movie, but I saw this one and I'm like, oh, I love it. It was Beetlejuice. And it's Lydia Dietz, and she's got like her camera with the ghosts coming out of her camera, and it says, "I'm utterly alone without you."
Oh, that is perfect. Hey, Beetlejuice doesn't count as a horror movie?
I don't know what it is because it's not scary. It's not a thriller. Is it a comedy? I don't know.
I think it's a comedy horror. I'm going to count that. One of my 5 horror movies I've seen.
It's a fantasy horror. So, okay, there you go.
There you go. If there's parts of it that could scare little children, then it might count.
Yeah. Yeah, when he pulls out his nose, the eyes go down into the mouth and all that. Yeah, that part was kind of, or like your part where the guy's flattened and he's sliding through the office or whatever. You mentioned that on one of the past podcasts.
The whole office scene is really spooky, like to a little kid. And then the whole dinner scene, I'd say that's early horror.
I love that whole dinner scene. It's good stuff. It was a good movie. And I'm sure everyone listening to this podcast has heard it. But if you have not, then, have not seen it, then I highly recommend it because it is a great oldie from Tim Burton, right?
Yeah. If you haven't seen Beetlejuice, who are you? Please, I got to hear your story of how you've avoided that all these years.
I know. All these years, you've been in a cave. So since I am starting off my night with the subject of Valentine's Day, I actually have a cute little mini story to share with you before I actually get into my real story. And you'll see why, I guess, at the end, because you know how I like to do my twists.
I love these roller coasters.
Yeah, right. Well, I've got one for you. So this guy by the name of Christopher Case, have you ever heard of him?
No.
Okay. Well, he was found dead, and the cause was said to be that of heart failure. And although this was supposed to be like a fit, healthy man, as far as anybody knew, he'd never smoked or taken any drugs. He didn't even drink, but he was dead at 35.
Damn.
Yeah, right. And the thing is like, everyone's like, well, you know, these freak things, they happen all the time, right? Sure. But it's often the result of some like underlying genetic heart condition.
Right.
This time, there was no history of heart problems in Christopher's family whatsoever. I mean, clean slate. Everyone shows up. Everyone's good. He should have been good. And there was something really strange about his death. Well, of course there was, because why would I be telling you the story? He had known it was coming. It was April 1991, and Christopher Case was frantically telling his friends and family that he only had 1 week to live. They're after me, he told his friend Sammy Soder in North Carolina over the phone from his apartment in Seattle. I'm very afraid, very, very afraid, extremely afraid I could die from this. Then Christopher called another friend in North Carolina and basically told her the same thing. Nobody heard from Christopher Case again. Now his friends are fucking worried. So they contact the Seattle police, who go over to Christopher's apartment. They find the door locked and nobody answering. So they leave.
Okay, that's not how wellness checks are supposed to work, is it?
Nobody's home. The door's all locked. Everything looks good here. Isn't that what they said in Home Alone? Tell that lady to count her kids again. But they go back the next day, and I don't know if it's because the friends were like, you fucking just left, go back, right? So they come back the next day, and this time the door is open, and the police find Christopher's dead body inside. He was fully dressed and stretched out in his empty bathtub. Around him were the remains of 10 burnt-out candles and crucifixes on every surface. Salt had been poured along the bases of the walls and door frames and made into a geometric pattern at the entrance to his apartment. There were books about witchcraft, the occult, black magic, and letters Christopher had written but never sent. In them, he claimed he had been put under a curse. When an autopsy was done, no evidence was found of foul play, of course, because they ruled it a heart attack. But police investigators continued looking into Christopher's personal life, which that's when they found something a little bit bizarre.
Wait. All this other stuff wasn't quite bizarre to them.
Right. Well, I think that's why they kept looking into it, right? They go into his, and what? And there's letters saying that someone's after me. Yeah, that, you know what I'm saying? They continued for a reason. In the months before his death, Christopher had gone on a business trip to San Francisco. He was an artist's manager at a Seattle-based music company, but his passion was the music of the ancient world. And I wish I had a clip so that I could just tie it in right now.
I was about to say, what does that sound like? I've got to get that album.
It's amazing. And while he was in San Francisco, he met up with a young woman who claimed she was an expert in the music of ancient Egypt. Oh, and she claimed to be a witch. So there's that. Christopher didn't really believe in witches. However, the woman had unnerved him. So when she made a pass at him, Christopher declined her advances.
What? She's totally into the same kind of music he's in.
I know, right?
Why not?
She must be ugly. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. She's totally into the same thing. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, her coming on to him, and she's also like, and I'm a witch. I mean, maybe she had a huge wart on her nose or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's just like with us. That's the point where you're worried about scaring people off. You know,
Yes.
It's like you tell them a little bit too much. It's like, I like horror movies. Oh, that's cool. I like horror movies too. I like to hunt for ghosts. What? That's crazy. That's so wild. I do witchcraft. Okay, peace. It's gone a little too far. So, that's probably what he was like.
Yep. I can't handle this. Yeah, probably. That's so funny because that is my everyday.
You just slowly keep working that stuff out. How much of myself can I actually show you? Oh, too much? Sorry.
Mean anything by that? Let's just go back to square one, shall we?
Sorry, not sorry, actually. But
Right. So that's kind of how this one went. Soon after he got back home, he'd become convinced that the woman had cursed him for turning her down. And that's when he begins thinking that his life hung in the balance. So this is from Sammy, one of his friends. He says, he left a message for me a week ago Monday. Of course, this is several years ago, but that was just whatever. Sammy said to the police officers after Christopher's body was found, he said that what he was telling him was that he was afraid of the witch because he was seeing her at night. She was attacking him and cutting him. He'd wake up with little cuts all over the ends of his fingers. He would wake up in the morning to find his body covered in bruises, and he started seeing shadows moving all around his apartment. He called another one of his friends and said that he was going to stay in a hotel for safety, and that he talked about hiring someone to confront the witch. I don't know what that means. You can't just go get a bouncer. Like,
yes, he's gonna go get like a hitman or just a mediator.
Right?
Yeah.
Look, he's not into you, so just drop the witch shit. So yeah. Then there was the salt. Since the earliest of times, salt has been used as a protection against unwanted psychic phenomena. We all know that. Christopher only knew about that from the books that he'd obtained recently because he was so fucking freaked out that this witch was going to kill him. He used the salt all around his apartment and started obtaining these crucifixes for protection as well.
Do crucifixes work against witches? Where did you ever read that? That's vampires, sir. You're mixing legends.
That could be why he died. So, the cops went in there and they said there was this, like a variety of books laying around. There's witch books, occult books, vampire books, zombie books. I mean, he just went for broke.
It makes sense. He doesn't know really what she's into. And if he didn't know anything about it, then he's exploring all his options if he's having these actual nightmares and stuff.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, and he's waking up like with physical like signs that he's been attacked. So he was just like everything and anything. Salt will do. Okay, let's load up on Morton's. He's just getting everything he can. So, and then he's found dead. We really don't have any idea who the mystery woman from San Francisco was. But the whole reason for me to tell you this was to give you some advice, gentlemen out there in the world listening to our podcast. So just so you remember that Valentine's Day is coming up, go ahead and get that special witch in your life. Something a little nice for Valentine's Day. Just in case they're extra powerful. And you can visit our shop that is the Spirit Emporium.
And if you're not into witches, maybe you should put that on your Tinder profile.
Yeah.
Just so nobody takes offense. They already know it from the beginning. They actually probably would still take offense.
Yeah. And you get cursed anyway, so maybe not the best.
Never mind. I don't have anything for you then.
No, but you know where I saw this? And it was so funny. Every now and then I get a chance to watch TV. This was on Monumental Mysteries with our homeboy, Dan Wildman, And it was such a cute little story. I don't even remember what the thing was that they had on display at the museum, which led them down this path of talking about this story. But it was so cool. And it was just that little blurb. So you can Google him. It's a real case. You can see what the guy looked like. And all of that is very interesting to me. And like I said, our homeboy, Dan Wildman, I've moved him into homeboy stance because it seems like him and Josh Gates are tight. So...
Are you using him just to get to Josh?
I just want to be tight with them too. That's all.
No, he's really cool. That's a good show too.
It's a good one. I don't know how often Monumental Mysteries comes on because he usually does the mysteries at the museum like every Saturday, I think.
I'm on old episodes. I mean, we just watch everything on demand if we ever get to watch things. But
right.
I wonder if skeptics that knew him or just skeptics, period, have connected that it's some kind of like mental breakdown that he was having, that he hallucinated all of this or something.
I don't know. It's really wild. I mean, he was listening to this music from the ancient world too. So, maybe a little bug got in his ear, his head, and he's like getting all crazy. He never did any drugs, so we can't say that was a factor. I'm sure that would have come out in his autopsy report.
Oh, yeah. And they would have just blamed it on that. So it'd have to be like some kind of, mental imbalance or something. I'm not saying that's what this is because I was thinking that's kind of an extreme route to take. I've never really heard of people going into an obsession of thinking a witch cursed them. But you're right, though, when you bring in the connection with the music. Like, that could have put it in his head because it was something he was kind of using, I guess you would say, all the time. Yeah. It was part of his daily life. Well,
I think it's really interesting that you said that because the whole rest of my story is all about witches and curses. So... I have more for you. And to talk about witches and curses, I have to take you all back to Salem, Massachusetts.
Let's go.
I'm sorry. I laugh after I say that because it's a place that I love to talk about. And I get a little embarrassed because I feel like everyone's going to be like, again. So I'm sorry. But anyways, let's go into Salem. So Salem's most infamous historic and haunted home presides above the bustling Washington Street, squished in between restaurants, gift shops, and most importantly, Dunkin' Donuts.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking of that commercial. An extra laugh on that. Guys, I just discovered this the other day because, like I said, I don't get to watch a lot of TV. But go to YouTube and put in Casey Affleck Dunkin' Donuts, and you get to see his SNL, right? That's where it came from?
Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. Dunkin' Donuts commercial. It's hilarious.
Get to them vanilla nut taps, I think is what it is.
I sent it to my son, too. But he was at school, so it had to be like, don't watch this in class. He was really close to lunchtime, so I was like, just wait.
So like true to like this shit that you'll see in Boston. It's a really good clip that she just mentioned. And honestly, that's why I had to throw in the fact that this was right by Dunkin' Donuts too, because I knew you'd just seen that. Visitors on tours and townspeople pass by this location every day, largely unaware of the horrors that may be lurking inside. As a matter of fact, you and I stood just a few steps away from it as we hung out in the main street of Salem watching the annual Halloween parade kick off just a few years ago.
Uh-huh.
Remember when we had those, like, what was it, wraps or something from the little sandwich place?
Yeah.
So, like, not even a block. Like, there's another building right there. And then around from that building is this location that I'm talking about.
Okay.
So, you guys, sorry, that was my side note to Wendy. They don't know. What is she talking about?
It's good that you did explain it to me. I know it doesn't help anybody else, but I was like, in front of the pizza place? You know, this is like one of those where it's just between you and me.
Yeah.
Yes. Are you talking about the pizza place that we tried to eat at first? Because that was kind of like a square? Or, okay, so you say the rat place that's around the corner. Yeah. I got it. Okay.
Exactly over there. Many Salem residents are very aware of its history and will sometimes whisper tales about the land's former owner as they pass by. But most people walk by it completely unaware, as it's not advertised like many other things that are in the Witch City. The Joshua Ward House occupies land that was once owned by the cruel witch trials High Sheriff George Corwin. And it has been said that he used his private home as a sadistic torture dungeon for the innocent victims of the witch hysteria, and that his violent spirit still stalks the land now, hundreds of years later. The Joshua Ward House was constructed on the foundation of Corwin's home in 1784 for a wealthy merchant. So it sits at 148 Washington Street, and what you'll hear from the serious historians is that the interior woodworking was done by famed architect Samuel McIntyre, who was the same man responsible for the monumental Golden Eagle on the Salem Custom House and the majestic mansions of Chestnut Street. And they're just so damn cute. Cute. So during the golden age of Salem was not as developed, and the waterfront could be viewed from the Joshua Ward House. And the Joshua Ward House was such an important fixture to the area during that time that when George Washington paid a visit to Salem, this is the house that he stayed at.
Ooh.
Right next to Dunkin' Donuts. And now we know why I stayed there. No, I'm kidding. If that Dunkin' Donuts was there back then, it would be haunted too, I'm sure. For years after his visit, they had put a bust of President Washington in the window, and people passing by would actually think that it was one of the spirits haunting the home. Exactly what I want to do. The Joshua Ward House was once the Salem hotspot for paranormal investigations. According to an investigator, and we are going incognito here to protect their identities, so we'll call the investigators Barbara. We can be silly and Barb for short, and her skeptical partner, Johnny, just because I like that name. Oh, Johnny. So they were checking out the place and taking their preliminary recordings in different parts of the house. Barb was setting equipment in a third floor room, and Johnny was supposed to be investigating the basement. Well, Barbara realized that too much time had passed and was starting to wonder where Johnny was. They were supposed to have met up in the parlor, though there was no sign of him.
I just had to say, if you ever became lost to me during an investigation, I think that's when I would lose my shit.
I know.
This is why we don't split up.
I mean, that's when it kind of becomes horror movie-esque, right? You're like, wait, I was just here. We're in this haunted house. Where the fuck is my partner?
Yeah, that's terrifying.
It's scary. So she went down into the basement looking for him, only Johnny was laid out on the floor and looked like he was struggling to breathe.
No.
Oh, yeah. Barbara quickly moved to him and put him in a sitting position, and then she shook him into consciousness. So I put a note to myself, do not investigate with Barbara because she sounds a little rough.
Like, where'd she learn that from?
Wake up, Johnny. I don't know. That's a different way to do the Heimlich, I guess. I don't know. Just shake him. So Johnny was able to pull through, surprisingly, without a concussion. And while tears streamed down this poor man's face, he said that as he started poking around the basement, he was struck from behind and his throat was seized. He whirled around to face his attacker, but there was nobody there. And yet the strangling sensation continued. He said that it felt as if someone was attempting to choke him to death. Johnny said that he had tried to call for help, but he couldn't make a sound, and his invisible assailant continued to hold his windpipe. He said that it felt as if two vice-like hands were wrapping around his throat, trying to choke him to death, and he felt himself fading. His vision broke into black sparkles, and his body went limp, and then he passed out. And then, as you know, Barbara found him all laid out on the floor like a rag doll. As Johnny was being revived and he started telling a story, Barbara could see that his neck had massive bruising consistent with what is usually seen on victims that have been violently choked. And apparently, Johnny said nope to all of that, and that was his last paranormal investigation.
I think yes, that might be it.
Like, I'm good. I don't need any more of that. But first of all, you're getting choked out by a spirit, and then your partner comes out and starts shaking you. Like,
it
I'm
doesn't
done.
instill much confidence in her as a partner, yeah.
Oh, this is what paranormal investigating is all about. I'm done.
You think that yourself, because we love it so much, do you think that you'd be like, okay, I will continue, but we need to find some fluffy hauntings, some Casper the Friendly Ghost type material.
Sure.
Ease back into it.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been, seriously attacked. Never been attacked by a spirit. I mean, they've approached us and then they're like, oh, okay, they got scared. We can leave. So I don't know. I wonder what Johnny was doing down in the basement. Was he really just poking around like he said? I don't know. It seems so weird for something like that to attack. But I do have another story, and it's not an attack, but it's along the same lines that it basically lets you know that whatever's there, it's not friendly. It is not a friendly spirit. And I wouldn't mind what happens to the second person so much, but getting choked out by something you can't see, I don't know. I might have to be like, yeah, I've gotten my fill.
Yeah, to the point that you pass out. Like, it's one thing if you're like, I feel like I'm choking on something. You might even be able to, like, justify it later. Like, oh, maybe I swallowed a bug or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't really that ghost. Sure, I can go on another investigation. But you pass out on the floor, it's not a bug.
No, and then, like I said, they saw that there were bruising.
Yes,
so it was like, yeah, that's bad. I've been scratched at a location before, but it was just on my finger. And it might have just been like, hey, dummy, your equipment ain't messing up. I'm here because I'm like, this stupid meter, beep, 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 So I don't know. It might have been more of, I'm really here than anything. Yeah, this guy getting choked out. I think I'd have to say, yeah, that's it for me and go on to crochet or something much safer. So while both investigators had already previously known about the Joshua Ward house's haunted reputation and that Sheriff Corwin's vengeful spirit may still linger there, neither were aware that Corwin had been nicknamed the Strangler.
Oh.
All right? Creepy.
Yeah.
That's what I said. And I was like, oh, I'm doing the story. That's all I needed to know. According to local legend, Corwin's chosen method of eliciting confessions from his victims was to choke them until they admitted whatever he accused them of. So, and a little bit of a disclaimer here, because this part's kind of grody. Skip ahead if you're the squeamish sort. So Salem lore says that Corwin would strangle his victims until blood flowed from their mouths and that their eyeballs would nearly pop out of their skulls.
Where is that coming from then? Like he's popping blood vessels?
Yeah, of course. If you've heard of that before, that's what happens, that the blood vessels pop. Oh, God, dude. What a creep. It's been said that Corwin did not just interrogate suspects for the purpose of gaining information, but he relished it. Like, he really enjoyed their suffering.
You don't go to that kind of level and not enjoy some of it. Because there are so many other ways to go about it, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't have like a list or anything, but I'm just saying there's other ways that you could have tried to interrogate them without you physically putting your hands on them. Like who has the strength and kind of the stamina, I guess, for something like that if they're not enjoying it.
Oh, yeah. I feel you. I could see just having a simple chat at a table, maybe with the old school light, where were you on the night? I could totally see that. It's just not in my nature to go the route of viciously attacking someone. He did. He clearly enjoyed it. What a weirdo. And he was a sheriff too. It's like, oh, Jesus. So even though there's no concrete proof, it's been long suspected that Corwin would haul his victims out of the witch dungeon to his private home and interrogate and torture them in the comfort of his home, where he could then treat them more sadistically than would have been allowed in the dungeon.
I know that little witch museum what was it called? It was just Witch Museum. It wasn't called Witch Museum. It was like Witch Dungeon Museum.
Witch Dungeon Museum, yes.
I know that it wasn't the real thing. But if it actually represented the way that it looked, that's pretty fucked up that people would have to go there and then worry about getting taken to this asshole's house.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, I'm good staying in my little closet of a space.
Yeah, right. Oh, sheriff's here. And I'd be like trying so hard to hide behind everybody else. Like, I'm good. Now, there's a tour group in Salem which holds nightly tours and does paranormal investigations. And they are the Spellbound Tours group. And no, this is not the same group that we went with to investigate the Salem firehouse back in 2016. That was actually Paranormal Salem, just so you know.
Amazingly, I actually knew that.
You did?
Well, no, I knew that wasn't the group when you said Spellbound. I'm like,
I wasn't sure. I've been like looking through my emails for like days. I'm like, who is it? Because if it was them, I'm like, that's sweet. High five, paranormal investigator. But no, I finally found it today, as a matter of fact. I found like their a confirmation. And like I said, it was Paranormal Salem. So anyways, the founder and former head investigator of Spellbound Tours, Molly Stewart, had her own close encounter of the Joshua Ward house. Molly had conducted 2 previous trips to the house. She'd taken pictures and collected stories from different employees, but had not been able to capture any paranormal evidence. So on her 3rd trip, she wasn't really expecting much, if anything. She was alone in the house and had set up audio and video recording devices in many of the rooms, hoping that this time, fingers crossed, we'll get something. At the close of the investigation, she collected her devices and brought them back to her office. When she played back the tape from the basement, her blood ran cold. A rough voice growled out the phrase, "I just want to keep you."
Ooh.
Yeah. Molly then checked all of the surveillance footage, but found that there was no physical person in that room where the eerie audio had been recorded. There was no background distortion. The voice on the tape was distinct and clear. And yes, you did hear me correctly. I said tape. So if you're ready to pull this one up on YouTube, don't bother looking for it. I couldn't find it. Maybe she wasn't able to transfer it to YouTube from her cassette. And folks, that's why we go digital. And I'm just joking. I mean, I have a cassette recorder too, and it's super loud and distorts everything that is recorded, which is why I have it in the Creatures of the Night Hall of Fame instead of in my equipment bag.
What year was this?
Oh, shit. I don't know. Maybe 2005.
Okay. But she could have had a digital recorder. She was just choosing to use a tape recorder.
Yeah, I did read where that was her choice. Like, she preferred to use the actual cassette. And I've seen that before. A lot of investigators did back in the earlier days when we started out. I don't know if that's still like a prime choice, but I get where they're coming from, because it's like it's imprinted in the tape itself. And if you only use that one tape that one time, you're not recording over it. That's, the holy grail of the EVP that you're catching, right? Whereas digital, you'd say, oh, you could record over that file so many times that it actually could be something bleeding through. You could be picking up interference here and there. I totally get where they're coming from. And that's why these investigators choose to use a cassette recording. But oh my God, I actually have it right here. The Hall of Fame. Look at this.
That's so funny. You just had that down there. Do you know they're selling those in the store?
Are they really?
Yes, I saw it the other day.
Wow.
I don't know if it was Target or Walmart or whatever, but I happened to be looking for something, a charging cord or whatever, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Tapes and everything.
Yeah, tapes and everything.
And I was like, should I get one of these? I wonder if they're better. But because the problem was in the past is that you could hear the mechanics of the recorder. So it's affecting what else you have to take out. You know, with your digital recorder, you got to take out any kind of movement and brushing against your clothes and whatnot, and your stomach growls and all that. So there's still all these other background noises. But with those, the tape recorders, even the motor inside of it was causing a problem. You have to think to take that out. But I wonder if new ones now are quieter.
I would hope so. That would be a fun thing to toy with. I mean, yeah, what Wendy said is exact. The thing is with the digital recorders is they pick up sounds from anywhere. So you have to be perfectly still while you're using this, because any movement you make, it's going to hear it. It's going to hear your tummy growling. It's going to hear someone whispering in the other hallway. And it's like, oh, is that an EVP or is that Jim Bob, with us? And that's why I got this cassette recorder. I was like, yes, I can't wait to use it. And you use it, you start recording, and it's like you hear the grinding of the wheels turning. And you hear the hiss of the actual white noise that you're getting there too, because it wasn't as advanced as the digital recorders. So like I said, I wasn't knocking her technique. Everybody is allowed to have their own personal chosen method. And the actual cassette tape recorder just hasn't been one for Wendy and I. Now, if we get one and maybe Sony has, fixed things up and they've come out with something new, maybe it would be worth checking it out again.
Well, yeah. And this was not too terribly long ago that she was using one as well. So it might be better quality than like back before digital recorders were an option, So that's maybe why she's okay with using it. Or she knows to take out those kind of sounds. And like, if we're on a public tour with people, if we're going to do recordings, then we can't take like little whispers and what was that? It has to be a ghost going up to your recorder being like, hello, I'm a ghost.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Right? Or I just want to keep you.
Right. So, I mean, if it's an incredibly obvious voice, a class A, very clear, you can't disregard that and be like, that was the motor inside the device.
Right.
No, I'm pretty sure they don't make sentences. You can confuse them as garble or a whisper, but not a very clear sentence. So I don't mind the idea of using a tape recorder. Yeah. I just wondered what year it was, if it was her only option or if she was experimenting with it. Yeah.
Right. And also, if it was early in the 2000s, then maybe the digital recorders weren't as widely available as they were when we went out. You were able to find one at Walgreens. I got one at Walmart. I mean, people were using them, sure, for actual dictation. Like, I guess that's why they were around. But I don't know, back when she was, doing her thing, how easily they were to get.
Right.
So Sheriff Corwin's reign of torture ended abruptly a few years after the Salem witch trials. Of course, because he ran out of people to fucking torture, right? But guess what? He died at the age of only 30 with, of all things, an unexplained heart attack.
No.
Yes. Remember that curse I was talking about?
Yes. Is this your twist?
I'm twisting my mustache right now. So, some people believe his death was caused by a curse placed on him by Giles Corey. So Corey had been accused of witchcraft, though he refused to plead innocent or guilty. And without a plea being entered, his trial could not proceed. Corey believed refusing to plead could stall his trial, and he would be able to wait out the witch hysteria and eventually walk free. Sheriff Corwin was not about to let that happen. You look like you have some questions. Do you have questions for me?
No.
Okay.
Sorry. That's my listening face.
Okay. To force Corey to confess, Corwin employed a particularly cruel form of torture called pressing. Corey was dragged from the dungeons to an adjacent field. A pit was dug. Some say Corey dug his own grave. Corey was then thrown down into the earth, and a board was placed upon his body. For a period of 3 days, heavy stones were piled on top of the board, slowly crushing him. As the days wore on, Corey was repeatedly asked how he pleaded, innocent or guilty. He never said a word. So a frustrated Corwin continued to weigh him down with heavier and heavier stones. When it was clear Giles Corey was about to expire, Corwin asked him for the final time how he pleaded. Defiant to the very end, Corey spat out the phrase, "Add more weight." Oh yeah. High five, Giles.
Yeah.
An enraged Corwin heaved a massive rock onto Corey's crushed body. As Giles Corey's body perished, it is said that with his last breath he groaned out, "Damn you, Sheriff Corwin. I curse you and all of Salem." Corwin died just a few short years later. He had not exhibited any signs of ill health before his demise. Corwin's earthly life was finished, but his problems were not over. After his death, Corwin's body could not be buried in a proper cemetery. one of the victims of the witch hysteria who had his property confiscated by Corwin, put a lien on his corpse. And his remains could not be interred correctly until Philip English got his money back. Though they refused to bury George Corwin in a graveyard suited for the Corwin family, as they feared that if he were put in the earth, his corpse would be dug up and desecrated. You can see why. A lot of pissed off people, right, about this guy.
For sure, yeah.
The only safe place they had to stow his fast putrefying body was in the basement. It's care to take a stab what basement that was?
I think I've got it figured out. Wait, how did they put a lien on his body, though?
So, I mean, this is the 1600s. And apparently, so let me go back to even Giles Corey. He didn't plead either way, right? He didn't say, I didn't do it, and he didn't say, I did do it, because apparently if he pleaded either way, then Corwin could confiscate his property, meaning that this man's, all of his fortune that should go to his family would now just go to the sheriff. Even if he pleaded, I am not guilty. Oh, cool. I get your stuff.
Right, because then he's like participating in the trial and then they can judge against him.
So Philip English was in the same situation. And I guess a family member of his was wrongfully killed in the Salem witch trials by this man, Sheriff Corwin. So he put a lien on his corpse because she was wrongfully tried and they couldn't do anything with it. That's how. I mean, the laws back then were very unique.
To say the least. Yes.
So that's where we're going with that one.
I love it, though. I really kind of dig it. Somebody that had been like such a fucking asshole.
Right.
I mean, you have to wait until his death, but then you're like, I'm going to get you.
I'm going to get you. Exactly. That's kind of how I felt about it, too. Now, eventually, Corwin did end up in a graveyard 6 feet under, but the rumor still persists that his corpse was walled up in the basement of the Joshua Ward house, the stately historic home that was built on his land, a home that is said to still be haunted by Corwin's spirit and the spirit of his tortured victims. According to the now deceased former Salem Sheriff Robert Cahill's book, sorry, that was a mouthful, Ghostly Haunts and its follow-up volume, Haunted Happenings, the Joshua Ward house is not only haunted by the wicked spirit of Corwin, it is occupied by another ghost as well, a hideous female apparition that has been titled the Lady in Black. The Lady in Black is seen as having a distorted face, long, unkempt black hair, and a tattered, old-fashioned black dress. It is speculated that she may have been a victim of Corwin's torture. Perhaps he killed her on his property.
Yeah, imagine, like, after you've spent a few days with that fucking asshole, you're going to look pretty rough.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Now, in the early 1980s, the Joshua Ward house was purchased by Richard Carlson and used as offices for his realty business. Almost immediately, strange shit started to happen. The burglar alarm would constantly go off at night, getting Richard or another one of the employees out of bed to attend to it. I guess they stayed there. It was a house, so sure. Doors would shut on their own and lights would go on and off, which, activated by unseen hands, I guess, because the light switch would have to flip. In one particular interesting incident, an employee had 2 candlesticks on the fireplace mantle in her office. Sweet office, right? I don't have a fireplace.
I don't have a window.
I don't have a window. She unlocked her office one morning. She said that she noticed that her candlesticks were turned upside down on the mantle and the candles themselves were actually on the floor. One was bent in an S shape
Ooh.
And the other in a boomerang shape, as if they had been melted and then manipulated. And they'd have to be if one was bent into an S shape because you can't get wax to do that. And I wonder if the other one, the one that was a boomerang, it was like, I'm tired of melting wax. So they just went with the V. This is hard. Another odd incident happened to Richard Carlson when a land graph that he was asked for floated out of its storage closet.
No.
And landed softly on the ground in front of him and another witness. 2 people saw that shit. Yet the most well-known ghostly manifestation at the house is, of course, the witch photo. When did you have your cell phone handy?
It was funny the way you looked at like you were lifting something heavy. I thought you were just going to put a frame right in front of me.
And here it is. Forget this technology shit. Just look into the Skype camera. All right, it's sent.
Oh my God. Someone would say which photo? I would say Tina Turner. No, Diana Ross. That's who I'm trying to think of. Sorry. That's some Diana Ross hair. 100%. Her face does look a little fucked up. Like she got a snarl going on. But yeah, that hair that's beautiful.
That is some wild hair, right?
Yes. Just that snarl is quite alarming.
It is quite alarming. So the picture is a little bit blurry. A little is underestimated. It's very blurry, actually. But you can see her features of her face. Her fingers kind of look long. But again, the picture's blurry. So Dale Lewinsky, and an employee of Carlson Realty, was taking Polaroid photographs of all of the employees. The photographs, which were simple head and shoulder shots against a white door frame, were to be displayed on a holiday door wreath for the office. All of the photos came out fairly normal until Lewinsky got to Julie Tremblay. The photograph is interesting enough, but there's an alleged eyewitness account too. So check this out. A woman that was there to inquire about an apartment in the office, and while her realtor was on the phone, she happened to glance down the hallway and into an open office. What she said was seated there in a chair was a woman with long dark hair wearing a long gray dress. Others around apparently didn't even notice the woman, and when she turned back to look at her again, the woman was gone. I guess she wanted to get a second look. She's like, what's going on with that hair? Oh, she's gone. Oh, okay. Maybe she's going to tame that. So, yeah, that picture is supposed to be very famous. A lot of people apparently have tried to debunk it, but have not been able to. Of course, I show it to my husband, and he's like, double exposure.
Double exposure?
That's what he says, double exposure, clearly.
So the part of the photo that you sent me is just of the spirit. Is there a larger image with, like, the employee in it, or...
I have the employee here. I can send you that too.
Because this is a flat out person, basically. I mean, I realize it's not a person. They weren't there, is what they're saying. But you have to understand, we talk about photos and we help post other people's evidence all the time. And we're like, look at the little blob in the corner. Doesn't it look like it has an eye or a face? This looks like a flat out person. Diana Ross in the background. She looks really rough. So is the woman in the image of this photo or no? This is the employee they were trying to take a photo of?
Yeah, this is Julie Tremblay. This is the woman that they were trying to take a picture of. And no, she's not in the image because they thought that they had taken her picture. They set all the pictures because they were Polaroids, and they're out there, doing their Polaroid gray to gray black blobs to black blobs. It mutates over a period of time. And then they're like, what the fuck is that? Okay, who are we missing? So they didn't get Julie's. I'm sure that they went back and took a picture, or maybe they didn't. Maybe she saw that and she's like, yeah, I mean, The Ring hasn't come out yet, but that's going to be a scary movie. And you're not taking my picture again. That's some bad omen shit right there.
Right? I'd be like, no, that's cool.
I'm Diana Ross now, guys. That's all there is to it.
I would be proud to be the spirit. Mm-hmm. But the photo that we're talking about, it looks like a woman with wild Diana Ross hair and a black dress. Her hands are really light. They're really white. Her face is darker than that, except for that snarl that you don't know if it's teeth or like a distortion in the developing. But yeah, I mean, it looks like it could be like a legit person and it's just completely out of focus. I don't see how someone could say it's double exposure. Double exposure of what? Of a ghost?
Well, and the thing is, like, her hair didn't look like that at all. So if it's double exposure, shouldn't her hair still be kind of smooth and like with that 80s flyaway, like Farrah Fawcett style hair? She shouldn't have that humongo. What would you call? I mean, it's not a fro. It's just extra frizz. It's a lot of very.
It looks like curls and stuff like that. I mean, like, and her hair is straight as can be.
Yeah.
So I don't see it. I don't see how it could be her image and create that hair.
I mean, L'Oreal makes some pretty crazy claims, but there's no way they could add that much volume. I'm just saying. That's incredible. So former employees at the Joshua Ward House have added their own strange tales of how they would be sitting in their offices alone, working after hours, as we do sometimes. They say that even when they knew for a fact that they were alone in the office, they felt like it was occupied. Like they just had a sense that there was somebody else there. They would also catch a glimpse of something from their peripheral And they would see it in the hallway, and what they would see out of their peripheral is a shadowy figure that was kind of gliding past. Of course, they'd look and there would be nothing there. Do you know what's so weird? That happened to me this week too at work. Now, the way that I sit now, because I rearranged my office when I took over the office. It used to be completely set up a different way. The desk was actually, as you walked into the office, you would basically walk into the corner and have to go around to the right to sit down. And I just didn't like that you were sitting there staring at this blue wall. So I moved the desk so that it's actually facing the door. So I see everyone that wants to walk by and not say hi to me. It's caught you. No, but there's also a window there. It's a little half window and a door. Of course, my door's wide open, my light's on. And I'm sitting there and I was actually writing the story. I don't think anyone that I work with listens, but I was sitting there writing the story. Okay, yes, it's spooky. It's ghost-like. I'm not on high alert because I live this stuff. I look at paranormal stuff all the time and I don't see things. But out of my peripheral, I did see something kind of pop up and I look and there's nothing there. And I see it right out of the window. I don't have a window to the outside world in my office. It's just the window right next to the door. And that's the first and the only time I've ever seen it. Was it something paranormal? I don't know. I hope so, because goddamn, I need something interesting to happen at work. Spice it up for me, please.
That's amazing.
Well, I tend to think that I bring some things along with me, like with this apartment. I'm not really sure why there was something here and it's really died down. Again, that could just be because of my influx of crystals and all of the sage that I burn regularly. Maybe I've just appeased it, but I don't really feel like something was here when we moved in. I feel like maybe something kind of came along with me. So I tend to think that would be the same thing at the workplace, because I mean, who the fuck would want to hang around there? I'm sorry, it's depressing. There's not even like paint. There's no color on the walls. It's not decorated. It looks like we just moved in. I wouldn't want to hang around there. There's nothing to be attached to. It sucks. So hopefully it was something coming to visit me, and I hope it comes back.
It was like, you need to go home.
I know.
Can we get in the car? I'll be waiting on you.
I've got like 2.5 more hours, Ghost. Sorry.
It's one of those days where it's like 9:30 and you're like, is the day over yet?
Yes.
I mean 9:30 a.m., guys.
Yeah, a.m. Right. You've been there an hour and a half and you're like, no, it feels like it's so much later than that. It just started. So while the Joshua Ward house is beautiful, many visitors, even those entirely unaware of its history, have reported feeling uneasiness. Even in a brightly lit room, they feel a looming sadness. In the recent past, the Joshua Ward house was occupied by a publishing company that was very open to having paranormal investigations. However, that is a very different story today. Today, it is home to a boutique hotel that does not permit night tours showing up on their doorstep hunting for ghosts. It used to be one of the top spots in Salem nightly spellbound ghost tours, but now the new owners have opted to conceal the haunted history. And I wonder why. Why would you want to hide it? The only thing I can think of, honestly, because let's be frank here, this is a tourist town and people are throwing money at these tours and any slice of macabre that they can sink their hungry little teeth into. So why would this location snub their nose to it? Is it because they're afraid of the curse?
I would say after you find somebody passed out on the floor with bruise marks on their neck, you might be like, I don't have enough insurance for that. So
right.
Yeah. We're not doing that.
It was really frustrating to me to find that out because I'm like, oh my God, this place has so much history and it is dark. And maybe they just don't want to associate with it because of the whole curse thing. And that's really the only thing that I could think of. And so just going back to Giles Corey for a moment and his curse, because I just need to add a little bit more to his legend, the apparition of Giles Corey will appear and walk around the graveyard each time a disaster is about to strike the city. And most notably, he was said to have appeared the night before the Great Salem Fire of 1914. Some eyewitnesses claim to see his body. See his ghost. Was a body just walking around? What? I mean, that'd be like zombie apocalypse, right?
Right.
Also, the position of sheriff of Essex County was said to have suffered from the curse of Giles Corey, as the holders of that office since George Corwin had either died or resigned as the result of heart or blood ailments. They think that the curse was broken when the sheriff's office was moved from Salem to Middleton in 1991, but they don't know for sure. So
we'll just wait it out, see if anything happens. So are they saying that Giles Corey is appearing as a warning that something's about to happen, or he's the sneaky one doing it?
He's not the one doing it. It's being told as honestly like an omen.
Right. Okay.
You see this guy, this flattened out dude that's wandering around, some bad shit's about to happen. It might be to you or it might be to this town. You know, he said those words and bad things kind of happened to every sheriff that was in charge until about 1991. And there was more than just the fire. There was a couple of other things that happened that they were like, oh, it's got to be the curse. And you know how curses work, right? You know, once something has acquired that label, then, oh, it's the curse. Fuck, I can't open this jar of pickles. Ah, the curse. You know, fuck, I stepped in dog shit. You know, everything kind of gets blamed on it. But there's also, it's because many people have that fear. And yeah, and if you've got paranormal investigators down in your basement getting choked out by something that's unseen, I mean, I thought when I first read that, I was like, holy shit, they're afraid. Either that or I also have that where if you give a negative entity that recognition, that it gets more powerful.
Yeah.
So they could be trying to block that out too.
Well, and it could be that you open the door to let investigators come in and you can't necessarily control what they're going to say or do. And then it could heighten the energies.
Right. And they're functioning as a hotel. So they have other residents there that probably don't give two shits about a horrible, vengeful spirit. And, you know, they don't want to have to deal with it. So they have to look out for their other people that are just patronizing them as just a hotel that's close to Dunkin' Donuts and close to all the cute shops, you know? So there's that. Now, the Spellbound Tours group was really a big player in where I located much of this information that I used for my story. And I really wanted to point out just how investigating the paranormal, they were able to gather these stories and some of the rather mysterious history of this location that would otherwise be lost in the business of the downtown area. You know, it just became a hotel. And if they hadn't put that out there for me, I would just, there's a hotel next to Dunkin' Donuts. I wouldn't know anything else about it. Or you'd have to be a local to really know those kind of stories. So I thought that was really special, you know, that they took the time to share this amazing history. And I wanted to give them a special thank you as they are owed credit for their research on this. And no, I do not work for them. Would love to, though. It sounds like, you know, awesome.
That's not laughing like we think that shit's funny either. If you've got a position available.
Call me. I'll link my... No, I'm just kidding. You know, I just like to appreciate those that appreciate the paranormal. So you can find Spellbound Tours. They're on Instagram and Facebook. It's all one word. They made it easy, Spellbound Tours. I could not find them on Twitter, but that's probably because I don't really know what I'm doing.
Well, some people put like really unique handles because others are taken and stuff like that. So it's hard.
Right. It might be Spellbound Tours 1313 Salem.
Right. Yeah.
So hopefully one day I'll find them if they are out there and I'll share that. But also the book that I mentioned was by Robert Cahill and it was called Haunted Happenings. And this is so funny. So this is an oldie and is actually the whole reason why I wanted to tell you this story. So here I am and I'm going back in my memory. So just come back with me. And here I am in Salem, Mass, years ago. And I'm in a gift shop looking through their books. Like I'm pilfering because this is what I do. I scavenged for goodies. And from my memory, it was the shop that is connected to a museum, but not the witch museum. I think it's like one of the vampire museums or like just a horror themed museum, whatever. We didn't end up taking the tour at that museum. I was just looking around, browsing the goods. I grabbed up this little paperback off of the wire spinning rack and thumbed right to the page with the witch picture in it. And I swear to God, in my memory, Wendy, you're there. So this would have had to have been like one of your first trips up here with me. Not the time that we actually took the tour in Salem.
Right, the first time.
So I know I sent you the picture. It didn't seem like you recognized it, but in my memory, you were there and I showed it to you. So maybe it wasn't you, but I don't go to Salem with anybody else. So I don't know.
Chris, you know how bad my memory is. You could show me this a year from now. I know. I'd be like, wow.
Wow.
Who's it look like? Tina Turner. No, Diana Ross. I'd say the same damn thing over again. Okay, so a year from now, I probably will remember this. But it was 6-7 years ago that we first visited.
It was a long time ago when you guys first came up here. And I mean, I really do feel like it was with you because I remember opening this book and going right to the witch page and was like, what is this shit? this can't be what, but I remembered that picture this whole time. As a matter of fact, I went to Salem today hoping I could find that book again. And you can't find it now in Salem because it's an oldie now. And all they have is like the new stuff that's out there. However, you can snag a copy of this used on Amazon for $5. Holla, holla.
Nice.
Oh, that's great because I didn't have to pay full price for it originally. And I'm a cheapskate, so that works out well.
Win-win.
So clearly, I got some of the additional information from my story from that book and from the internet. But anyway, that about wraps things up for me. All I have left are our shameless plugs. So if you listen to the podcast, did you like it? Please leave us a review. We cannot express how much we love hearing from our listeners, especially those that rate, review, and subscribe. Got any details on the Joshua Ward house or hauntings in general? Drop us a line. Write to us at creaturesofthenightparanormal@gmail.com. Want more witch stuff? Who doesn't? Check out some of our amazing products on the Spirit Emporium on Etsy. We are also on Instagram under the same name, but if that's too much to remember, don't worry. We have everything you can think of under one roof. Find us on the World Wide Web under creaturesofthenightparanormal.com.
And you don't even have to go all the way to Salem to get witchy stuff.
Exactly. That's what the internet's there for. Just like today, I went to Salem looking for this book, left Salem, not too totally disappointed because I did actually find the grave of Judge Jonathan Corwin and Sheriff George Corwin. So I'll actually have those pictures to post. They were not in any of the regular cemeteries in Salem. They're at a separate cemetery it's in Salem, but one I didn't even know existed. So I was shocked as shit to find that out today. I got to roam around the cemetery, a new one. That's like one of my all-time favorites. Like, that's my hiking exploration. I walked around a cemetery and I had to pick up my legs because, them stones are small and you might step over. So I'm hiking today.
The last time we hiked, it was a couple weeks ago, but we did like 4 miles.
Yeah,
but
wow.
It was just a big old circle in the desert. And I thought, hiking's not much different than just walking. We could walk
exactly.
4 miles in the neighborhood. It's the same thing, but we're getting a chance to possibly see something while we're out here. I hate just the walking that doesn't have like some kind of fun experience or something to view while you're at it. So like when you go wandering around your graveyards, it's the same damn thing and it's interesting.
I'm glad you think that because that's what I tell my coworkers that I'm doing on the weekend, that I'm just going hiking. They don't need to know that I'm hiking around graveyards.
No, I just leave that out.
But I pulled a Chris. I knew that when I went to Salem today that was one of the things I had to do was find his grave marker so I could take pictures for the story and obviously the house itself. But I knew where the house was. It was very clear from the description. All I had for his grave marker was a picture and houses so I could see what should be around it. And I'm like, well, clearly he's buried at the Charter Street Cemetery. That's where everyone's buried. Let's go there. And I go there with my husband and we're wandering around and he's like, where is he supposed to be? So I pull up the picture. I'm like, yeah, so there's no houses that look like this over here at all. So I'm like, he's got to be at the other one. Let's start walking. So we start walking and we go over to the other one that's like around by that church that has like the little headstones like in front of the church itself.
Yeah.
So I go to the cemetery over there and from my angle, you have to kind of go in through the fence. So my husband's like, what are we doing? It's fine. I take my son through here all the time. Don't worry. Let's go. So we go into the cemetery and he's like, now where is it? And I look at the picture and I'm like, okay, there's houses around here, but they don't look anything like this. I'm like, shit, he's got to be over here somewhere. And he's like, how is it that you dragged me all the way to Salem and don't even know where the fuck we're going? I'm like, because I like Salem. I just figured it would come to me, like always. So we do a little research and find out that it's 15 minutes in the other direction. We drove around. We found the new cemetery that I'd never seen before. And right there, right in the front of the cemetery, they have a marker that says, hey, guess who the fuck is buried here? Some people that are kind of sketch. They did some bad shit. Go find them. So I went right to it because, from the picture, it was the only one in the cemetery that had this tomb. So it was easy to find once I got there. I just dragged my husband all over Salem for no good reason.
I love how you just tricked him into this. When he first saw that you were just trying to match up a photo that you saw online, was he like, what the fuck?
Yeah, pretty much.
I would assume he's on his phone trying to actually Google this shit and being like, we're in the wrong place. I know you want to make your intuition pop in here, but Google says.
So the funny thing is that he's actually used to this because I do this all the time.
And he just lets it go.
It's so funny because you would think that he would have learned by now. I don't know. I have an intuition that I hope is right. I know generally the area that we're going to go. And from there, we just find it. That's pretty much how, like when we went to Spidergate Cemetery. And this is kind of a weird one. You have to go down some back roads and you're supposed to park like on the back road. Then you have to walk through the woods. So it's kind of sketch. And I was really happy that he went with me because it's like all of that seems a little Blair Witch to me. Can I have a partner to go with me? Thank you. I get killed. We get killed together. Thanks. But yeah, this happens all the time. There's even like a ghost town in New Hampshire. And Brandon, he sent me the link at one point. He's like, hey, have you heard of this? I was like, yes, I have heard of it, but it's like an hour and a half away. So it's on my list of things to do. Well, we ended up going to it and we're driving. And he's like, so where do we go? And I'm like, just up here, we're going to turn. Turn. He's listening to me. And when we turn and we go down this road and he's like, so where is it? I'm like, I don't know. It should be like right here. And he's like, are you navigating? I'm like, no. So we were close, but we had to go around to get to it. So that's just how I do things. And the funny thing is where I work, my office, it's not a locked door. And we have people coming up there all the time. Like, is this Suite 200? Is this the eye doctor? Is this the pharmacy? I'm like, no, this is a place of business. It says right there, Suite 180. And every single time someone leaves, I get super pissed off. And I'm like, Google Maps, dude. Fucking come on. Yet here I am, just like, I'll use my intuition to find it.
My inner aura will lead me. That's what they were doing to get to the doctor's office.
They're doing.
And you're judging them.
I'm judging them. No, I'm screaming at them to get out of the office. And here I am, like, my husband's such a good guy. He's like, where the fuck are we going? I'm like, I don't know. It's Salem. Let's just wander around for a little bit until we find it. He's like, we don't have that much time on the meter. So gotta make it quick. Let's get going. So we found it. Needless to say, it's a cemetery that I'll have to take you to because you haven't seen it yet. Well, you'll see some pictures on Instagram, but next time you're here, there's more things in Salem that I find out all the time because again, I'm not that good at researching stuff until way after the fact. Hence the Joshua Ward house.
I mean, everything in Salem is haunted. Are you supposed to know every single one of the things? I go to Tombstone a lot. I don't know every single building's history, and they're all supposed to have one. So, I mean, it's fun that you've lived up there for 8 years almost now, and you're still learning things. So it still makes going there interesting and fun, and because it's like a new discovery each time. I really enjoyed this story. I dig it.
I'm really glad that you did because, again, I felt like as soon as I start talking witches, Wendy's going to be like, damn, does she ever talk about ghosts anymore? Can we just please go back to the paranormal?
No, I love that stuff. I loved all of that and the ideas that they had. It was just total bullshit, really.
I mean, it really was.
I truly believe that it is possible for people to carry powers. A lot of witches is just using, the right herbs and mixtures and whatnot, and then it's a prayer and it's a belief and it's just a ritual of things that are supposed to bring on positive or negative energies if you're that kind of witch or whatever.
Yeah.
But I actually do think that there are some people that can go a step above that and do some shit,
Yeah, right.
And have some powers. But back then, that whole thing, that was all fucking politics and stealing people's land and just being super shitty.
Yeah.
I mean, so what kind of emotions did that put out? And then what happens to their spirits? And they're left behind in this town, and it's all just there.
Yeah, it makes it a super haunted town.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the history, it's bad. It is something that happened, though, and I think, honestly, it's good to keep it alive. And, I mean, my God, I feel like in my spare time, and Wendy, I'm sure you feel the same way, that we're becoming these little historians on different places, And it's fun. It's fun because I like knowing the deep down secrets that these places kept hidden from everyone from so long. And that's why I wanted to really extend my appreciation to that group for going the extra mile and doing the paranormal research at this one place, because you can't do that anymore. They don't want you to. They won't let you. Maybe because of the curse, maybe because of liability reasons. But we get those little tiny pieces of history, information as we go along. And it is fun. Like you said, every time I go to Salem, I learn something new. So I'm glad that you liked the story. I hope that our listeners did too. And like I begged them earlier, hopefully they will rate and review and subscribe, because that's all that we ask from our listeners on top of everything else that we ask them to do.
You don't even have to do all that other stuff if you would just tell us how. I mean, we'd love to talk to you if you've got a story to share.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think that's actually top on the list, is just to communicate and talk with us, because that's the whole reason we do this, is just to expand our, I guess you'd say, network. But the rating and the review helps us make the show better. You know, we will take good and bad to help improve the show to make it something that you enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. It's like PBS.
It is absolutely like PBS. And if anybody wants to donate as well, we're going to be working on that Patreon soon.
Yeah, right. Pins are a-coming.
Going to add that to that list of shit we tell you guys to do. But that was a great story. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. I never get sick of witches, and I don't think anybody else does. Anybody listening to this show does either. So thanks.
Awesome. Good. You're welcome. Next time I'll have to mix it up and pull on some aliens or something.
I can't wait to have you do an alien one. You know,
really?
I just fumbled through one. I want to hear you do one.
Shit. Yeah. Well, cool. Then. All right. I've got a backlog, I think, of things that I have to do. I guess I need to get on with my alien story. So more to come on that, guys. And again, thanks so much for listening.
All right. Bye.
Bye.